Hi guys, and welcome to Unity tutorial for landscape with imported assets. So let me show you guys how this works. So that is Alex there, so I'm going to just move Alex. Alex was actually created using Mixamo. So this tutorial will include how to import assets, import the landscape, and go straight into Mixamo and get some of the assets. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to start a new project. So let's open up new project entirely. So I'm going to click on new project and I'll give my product a name. I intend to call it landscape, and I'll just make sure you select 3D core, then click on create. Okay guys, Unity editing environment is ready. So the very first thing I'm going to do is go straight into Windows here, click on Windows, and I'm going to select package manager. Inside the package manager, I intend to download 4 different assets. So let's click on here because I already have an account with them, so I can just go straight into my own asset. And the very first one, look at one of those in there. I'm going to go for the Baker House, so I'm going to import that, get it imported, and click on import again. So the Baker House should appear here now. Look at it right there. The other asset I'm going to go for is going to be Skybox. All Sky Free is called. It's approximately 300 plus. I'm going to import that as well. Okay, click on import. There we go. Okay, all Sky Free is in place now. And the 2 other assets I would need, let me scroll down. I'm going to need the starter assets right there. That is the starter asset, 3rd person character. That is it right there. Starter asset, 3rd person character. So I'm going to click on import and click on import again. There we go. Okay guys, this dialog pops up telling you that this project is using the new input package. So I'm going to click on OK. But what will happen once you click on yes, the system will have to restart the whole project. So I'm going to click on yes, and there we go. It's now restarting the whole project all over. Okay guys, we now have the 3 assets in there, but we need one more. That's the starter asset, Baker House, and all Sky Free. Now let's scroll right down. We need one more asset, and this very one is going to be the vegetation sprout. So let's see if that is there, and there we go. That's the vegetation sprout. So it's only about 3 megabytes. So I'm going to click on import and click on import again. So the vegetation spawner, that is going to be the landscape that I'm going to be using now, is on the system. That is it right there. So I can now close package manager, and right in there, that's this vegetation spawner. Double click on the spawner and click on demo right here. Double click on demo, and that is the vegetation spawner that I want. Double click on that very one, and you should be able to see a very small leaf just in there. Okay, that is the spawner itself. So double click on it right in here inside the hierarchy, or I mean that double click on the terrain, and right here, that is the vegetation spawner right there. That is all there is to that. So the next thing we want to do now is we can decide to add a cabin to it, but first thing first, before we add a cabin, let's come in here. You see where we have the starter asset. Double click on the starter asset. Now double click on 3rd person controller. Inside the 3rd person controller, you should be able to see a prefab. Double click on the prefab, and that very prefab, I'm going to get hold of this player amateur, drag it and just dump it somewhere, maybe here. There, you might not be able to see it properly, so in the hierarchy, double click on it, and that's it right there. You can reposition it as you want. The choice is yours, but first of all, I'm going to go straight into the tools here. Click on the tools. You see the starter asset? Now select reset third person controller. What that will do is it will give me a Cinemachine camera. So click on that and I should be able to see the camera. There we go, that's the camera right there. Okay, with my camera in position, I'm going to now grab this. Let's grab the game. I'm just going to peg it right there. Now back to the scene. Inside the scene now, in fact, let's run it and just see how that looks like first, and then we can carry out one or two more editing. So let's see how that's going to look like. There we go, and that is my starter assets. Alright, so that's the third person. Very good. So I'm going to end that. Before I do any other thing, first of all, let's add my all sky free just to change the skyline. So I'm going to go straight into Windows and let's select rendering, select lighting, and in here go straight into environment. Now we have the Skybox material. Click on this small icon there and let's select the Skybox that we want, and there we go. I'm going to select this epic blue there, and that's it. So I'm going to close that. So the Skybox is changed. That is it right there. Now the next thing we want to do is, let me add some buildings to it. You see in here, remember the Baker house? Click on that and click on the prefab, and that is the house we want, this very one. Drag it and just dump it somewhere there. Okay, maybe grab one or two more and just dump it there as well, and there we go, something like that. Okay, now that is taken care of. The next thing we now want to do is, you see this my third person, and I want to change that very character. Okay, this amateur, I want to change it to a different avatar entirely, and to do that, but let's run it and see. I just want to see how that buildings will look like. But to change it, we're going to need Mixamo. If you don't have an account with Adobe, so you need to create an account. I will show you where I'm going to get this character from, and that is the buildings in there, so that is fine. Okay, so let's exit out. The building looks alright, so I'm going to exit out, and now I'm going to go straight into Mixamo. Let's see, that's Mixamo right there. If you don't have an account, just create one, and in here the character that I'm looking for, I think is going to be Alex. So let's look for Alex. Yeah, that's the one I want, so I'm going to replace this character with Alex. There, that is Alex there. Before I download it, I'm going to add animation to it. I need a working animation, so in there I'm just going to type in work. So select work, and the one I want, look at this one, I'm going to go for that. Alright, it's working, so let's download it. Click on download. I'm going to, you see the format in here, I'm going to change that to Collada right there, and that's all I'm going to do. So I'm going to leave the rest set in the way they are and click on download, and that is it. It's now downloading. So I'm going to go back straight into my Unity development environment. Why this one download? Yeah, download is completed. There we go, that is it right there. So let's go straight into my editor. I can close this now, I don't need that anymore. Exit. Yep. Okay, open up the downloaded package, which is right here. That is it. I'm going to get it extracted, and right here, that is the extracted folder there. So I'm now going to drag that very folder straight into my asset here. Just drag and drop, and that is it. Once you've dragged the asset, the working, so double click on the folder, and that is Alex in there. Select Alex. Once Alex is selected, we now want to carry out one or two changes. Once the system is ready, select Alex. You see where we have rig in the inspector. click on that and change animation type. Let's change that to humanoid. Drop this down and select humanoid. Once the system is ready, there we go. Click on apply. There. Then select animation. I'm going to scroll right down, want it to loop. You see where we have loop time? Click on, just make sure it's checked and click on apply again, and that is it, done. Now that that is taken care of, I'm going to right click in here inside the folder, go to create, and let's select animation controller, this very one. Click on that and let's just call it Alex. Okay, that's it. Alex is fine, that's the name anyway. Double click on the animation controller, and right in there we now want to get hold of the animator itself. That is it right there. Click, drag and drop. That's the animation clip. Look at it, animation clip. That's it. I've just linked up the animation. That is fine. Now that that is done, the next thing we now want to do is collapse all of that. We now want to get hold of Alice itself and replace this avatar with Alice. To do that, I'm going to grab hold of this avatar, drop it there. Look at it, it's so huge. Okay, it's very big. So that's Alice there. Look at his feet alone. But I'm going to change the size. You see, come straight to the inspector, change the size to 0.01. that is for the x-axis. The y-axis, I'm going to make it 0.01 as well. Z-axis, and I'll make that 0.01 as well. That is it. Now if you double click on Alex, that is it right there. Okay, and I want Alex to replace this avatar here. You see this very avatar? I'm going to come into where we have player amateur, drop it down, and inside there we have the geometry. Inside the geometry, that is the amateur itself, the mesh. Okay, I'm going to just hide it instead of deleting it. I'm going to hide it. You can delete it if you want. There, it's gone. Now the working, and that is the image of Alice. I'm going to drag it and dump it right inside the geometry, right below the amateur that is disabled. Okay, you can position it where we have the previous one. The choice is yours. That's fine. Now that that is done, make sure the Mixamo image called Alex is still selected. Make sure it's selected, and now come straight to the controller here. Now inside the inspector here, I'm now going to change the controller. You see the controller? I'm going to change it to that of this amateur. Okay, the disabled amateur. I'm going to come in here, make sure the working image is very guy, select that, and that is it, the starter asset one. There, look at that, starter asset third person. The avatar in there is the working avatar. This is the working avatar. Okay, now the next thing we want to change is you then go straight into the player amateur itself. Select the folder that says player amateur. We now want to change the avatar. Instead of the amateur avatar, which is this, change that to the working avatar, this very one. Look at the name, working avatar, and that's the name right there as well. Make sure it's selected, and that's it. You've just carried out your changes. You've just changed from the starter assets third person controller amateur to the one you downloaded from Mixamo. So let's try out our system. Click on run. There we go. That is him right there. Look at him goes. And that is how you create your own landscape using assets. I suppose you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and please do subscribe to this, my second channel, and I'm going to call it the end of this beautiful and interesting tutorial. As you can see, you can also see the landscape, how beautiful it is, the Skybox that was imported, and so on. So I'm going to call it the end of this tutorial, and you all have a nice day now, and bye for now.